Everybody, Genevieve here, just showing you my office at this point, at least part of it. The reason why I'm getting on today is I wanted to talk about procrastination and what can actually be done to counteract that. And it's actually just a few simple steps. But first, I just wanted to mention, I don't know if anybody has been on this. Hi, Celia. Has been on this before. Oops, I just messed this up. Wait a second. Okay, here we go. Anybody has seen any of my scopes before, but I am working on decluttering my office, and it's been a pretty huge mess. And believe it or not, there's actually a lot more room in the office right now than there used to be. However, I still am not sure that I'm quite where I want to be. My goal is, let's see, some more. My goal is to be done with the decluttering by spring. Approximately, I would say, end of March, beginning of April. So at this point, we're where? We're in kind of almost mid-February, and I just don't feel at this point like I am quite where I want to be yet. Exactly, Celia. Must run in the family. Celia and I are cousins, so it must run in the family. Absolutely. And it's not anything that I'm going to beat myself up about. It's not anything that I'm going to be angry about, and I'm certainly not going to give up, because of course, when we give up, our goals don't get met. So what I'm thinking instead is perhaps taking some steps so that I am not stuck. Now, I have two businesses, so one might say I have a good reason, or rather maybe it's a good excuse, for not being where I want to be right now with my office. And I keep thinking also of how it's going to be once it is done. So that may be one of the other steps I can bring in there, but I'll mention it again as I'm going through the list of steps. So, this is not, when I do these decluttering periscopes, the point is not to have you beat up on yourself, because then that is going to be completely counterproductive. You're not going to get done the things that you want to get done anyway. So there's really no point to that. So what I want to make sure that I reiterate is that we're doing the best we can. We're all doing the best we can every day in our lives. So if you're not where you want to be right now, that's okay. You can always change it. You don't have to wait till something like New Year's, and doing the resolutions. You can change at any point in your life. So you can pick a day and you can go, okay, this is what I'm going to change and this is why. So I'm going to go through the steps. And thanks so much for the hearts. Keep giving me the hearts. I really appreciate that. So the steps that I have created for myself and that I'd like to share with you today are: you want to remind yourself of your goal. And if you don't have a goal, you want to create one. One of my previous scopes, I think this was maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, I talked about, my goal that I just mentioned about I want to be done with this decluttering by spring. Because this way, when I'm done, I'm just more organized. I can find things more easily. I can be more efficient in my businesses. And I also want to be a good example for my kids. I have two sons. They are 12 and 10. And they watch everything. They notice everything. Even though they're tweens now, they pretend that, that nothing I do matters and that they don't care. But I know that they're really watching. Yes, thank you, Celia. It really is so true, isn't it? By the time they get to that tween, or we used to call that preteen age, and then throughout the teenage years, they're just like, yeah, whatever, because they want, I don't know what the rationale is behind that. But they are watching, and they are noticing what we do. So I think it's a really important thing, not only for me, but also for my kids, that I get this done. So you want to remind yourself or create a goal. Like I said, I created my goal. You want to remind yourself of it, especially when you're not where you want to be, not to beat yourself up. For example, this morning I was thinking to myself, oh gosh, well, I'm going to get on this scope. I really haven't done much with the office. What steps can I take personally to get myself going, because I had the reason, or I said before, the excuse of, oh, I'm just so busy. But if it's that important, if it's important enough, we can make time in our schedules to do it. And I do have it set in my calendar to do the decluttering every day during the week. But even when that comes up in my calendar, I have a Google Calendar, so it pops up on my phone or on my computer. And when it does come up, sometimes I come up with what I call a reason, quote unquote, but it's really not. It's an excuse. So yes, absolutely, Celia, you want to schedule it all in. And it's something that I teach folks in both my businesses. You want to schedule absolutely everything, even if it's something as simple as drop the kids off at the bus stop. I have that in my schedule as well. So you definitely want to have that goal set, because setting goals really helps you move forward in life. It helps you make real progress. So that's the first step that you want to take. The next step is, like I said before, I was kind of thinking to myself this morning, I'm really not much closer to my goal than I was before. So that's the second thing you want to do, is ask yourself, am I any closer to my goal today than I was when I first set this goal? If the answer is no, then you go to the next step, of course. But if the answer is yes, then congratulate yourself on that. If you are truly getting towards your goal, whether it be decluttering your office or anything else that is a goal for you, it might be a goal to be healthier. It might be a goal to, let me think, clean the kids' closets or anything like that. So it's a really important thing to actually acknowledge if you are making progress. So if the answer is no, like it is for me, I'm a little bit closer to my goal today, but I know that I'm not going to make it at this rate by spring. So the third step that I would suggest is to keep this in mind, okay? Action yields results. If we take no action, no results are yielded. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, no kidding. But, oops, I keep doing this. I don't know why I keep doing this. I apologize. I'm totally not getting used to this scope thing, so I do apologize for that. Here we go, trying to flip this again. So I will get used to this eventually. So it's something that, like I said, you would think that that's really obvious, but it's something that I think we need to remind ourselves of, because sometimes we literally, thanks Celia, sometimes we literally turn around and go, oh my God, what's going on? I'm no closer to where I want it to be. My office is still a mess, or my, XYZ is still a mess. For example, somebody might say, oh my God, I'm still overweight. So what we need to do, and I'm not really sure why this is, very often this happens with human beings, that we just tend to get, lackadaisical and complacent. And we'd rather, go in the living room and watch TV. And that's actually, I'm pretty guilty of that myself pretty often, actually. Just hang out with my husband in the living room watching TV, hang out with the kids, which is a good thing. But if it puts us between us and our goals, maybe we can scale back on that a little bit. Maybe we don't have to watch so much TV with the family, for example. So again, if we take action, we will get results. If we don't take any action, we do not get results. And I'm one of those people that I'm not a patient person by nature, and I have no patience for staying in the problem. So this is a perceived problem of mine. My office is a complete mess, as you've seen. So I've got to do something about it. I've got to take action if I want the end result of having a nice, clean, organized office that I'm not going to have to worry about where anything is. I'm not going to have to worry about tripping as I'm going through my office. So let me just reiterate here. Let's see. Here's what I want. Okay. Let me just show you again. Hopefully you guys can see this. First step to moving forward when you've been procrastinating is you either create a goal for yourself or you remind yourself of a goal you've already created. Next, are you any closer to your goal today than you were yesterday? Now, if you just created a goal today, you don't really have to measure yourself by that standard. And the third, if you're not any closer to your goal today than you were when you started, remind yourself that action leads to results. If you take no action, you get no results. So very, very important that you do that. And just remind yourself you absolutely can do it. Absolutely. So let's see. Let me flip this again. Try to flip this again. Okay, sorry about that. I'm really not that good at this yet. But, you know, what I love about stuff like this is we don't have to be perfect. We just got to keep going, right? So does anybody have any questions at this point? I know there's a few folks on. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions about any of the scopes that I've done, if you've seen them previously, or if you have any comments, anything like that, make sure that you find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is the same as my Periscope handle, which is genevievekohn. That's GenevieveEveeKohn. Thanks so much for being with us today, and hope that you have a wonderful day, and looking forward to continuing to help you organize for your business. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for putting that up there, Celia. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye. Talk to you soon.